Hi everyone, welcome to Nareen's Life with MS. This is Nareen and it's time for a Truthful Tuesday. And I do know this video is coming out a little later than it should. It is currently 12:46 a.m. here, which is why that light is appearing a little brighter than normal. But of course, besides that, today's truth was something that I actually didn't think of a lot. So as a result, I don't have anything as of now to really talk about. But I think one thing that I can definitely talk about was you know uh, regarding a certain conversation I had with my dad earlier today. So that was in regards to, my dad wanting me to walk. So I did walk, and it was a pretty painful experience to walk. Namely because namely because I have this thing where, I kind of bend a little at the waist, and I'm not able to walk straight, and as a result it was definitely a little more problematic to walk, or troublesome to walk very long distance. I tried, but out of trying to do it on an hourly basis, I only actually ended up doing it maybe twice the entire day. And so my dad's next thought was, okay, maybe yoga is not working out for me. And I just, I had to kind of tell him that, you know, there are definitely a lot of things that can happen, but with a lot of different health choices, therapies, treatments, all of these things that we do, we have to understand that there is never going to be a one size fits all, right? There has to be, we have to make certain decisions, certain carry some expectations that have to be able to change at all times, right? A lot of times, certain things or certain medicines that work a certain way for me might work completely differently for someone who is still, facing the same exact medical condition that I am. One example that I can give is, I do take dalfampridine or Empira for, being able to walk a little faster. Now, Empira's impact or dalfampridine's impact has definitely reduced over time. So, usually I come across the thought of maybe giving that up, focusing on other medication. But one side effect that I did have taking that medication was that my balance actually was a little off. I walked a lot faster, but my balance wasn't as good as it was before I started taking it. But when I talk to some MS patients that are on the medication, some have experienced it, others have not. So it's very hard to gauge what might actually happen. And that is the same thing I did want to say about yoga, or maybe even the gym, or maybe even anything that I've probably given up, that sometimes the desired result that we want out of it might not end up being the case. That does not mean that that certain therapy or that certain medication or that certain thing does not have its positives. It's just that a lot of times the one thing that we do want, the one expectation that we might have of a certain thing, that might not come true. But at the same time, if there are other positives, we should still definitely go ahead with that thing. And I do hope that there comes a time in the future where I am able to go to the gym, do yoga, swim, take at least 5 or 6 different alternative therapies, many of which include the acupuncture, the acupressure, the um, naturopathy, um, all of them pretty much all together. The only thing is that I hope days then can have like up to 50 hours, because there is no time in the day for me to be able to do all of them together. But this is where I want to turn it over to you and actually ask you, what are your thoughts on it, right? Do you sometimes, when you enter or join a certain treatment, therapy, exercise, diet even, for a certain purpose, and say it does not achieve said purpose, but it definitely does give you effects, especially positive effects, do you still continue with it, or do you actually hang it up? As you know, with me, I usually do end up hanging up certain things. So I definitely want your opinion on this. But of course, with that said, I do hope your Tuesday is going very well. This is Naren Saifat MS. I am Naren. And with all of that said, here is me wishing you a good night, sweet dreams, and I will catch you tomorrow. Bye.